Hello everyone and welcome to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Whitney and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film, sometimes not in chronological order.
Yeah, because we're taking a step way back because we just finished the year 1981 and now we're going back and we're watching movies that you guys have sent us in the intervening time. So we're back in 1947.
Yeah. If you're watching this in the playlist, of course it'll be in the correct spot, so hello people just joining the pilgrimage.
Hi, you've watched 5 movies? 7 at this point?
We get better, I promise. I hope.
Anyways, today we are watching The Crab with the Golden Claws from Belgium. This is a Tintin movie.
Right, which will be the first Tintin movie in the playlist in chronological order. But of course, we've watched... I want to say 3 other Tintin films.
No, 2 others.
2 others.
2 others. This is the 3rd we've watched. This is the first stop-motion one we've watched.
In general, we're not big fans
of Tintin.
Of the Tintin franchise. So, gonna say that right off the bat. And this film definitely didn't, really sway my opinion.
I would say that this was less damaging. It did not further my dislike of the franchise, but it did not heighten my like of the franchise either. It just this movie was fine, so I keep the overall same opinion on Tintin.
Right.
Either way, before we really get started, I want to say thank you to Michael Ray. Thank you so much. They found this movie, they translated this movie, and they gave us extra notes on this movie. They did a lot.
Above and beyond.
To allow us to watch this movie. Because it was originally in French, and then they found a version with Spanish subtitles, and then they translated it all to English, cross-referencing the original comic that it is based off of.
Because they didn't speak French or Spanish, so
they used Google Translate, and then they're like, I feel like it should actually say this to make sense in English.
Right. I think having the comics to cross-reference and the fact that this is a pretty faithful adaptation of the comic really helped.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. I also want to say this is the first Belgian movie we're watching for Animation Pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I mean, in chronological order.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we've seen a number of Belgian movies by 1981.
Mostly co-produced.
Yeah, Belgium works with a bunch of other countries to make films, but this is the first one they do.
Yeah.
And honestly,
it's pretty okay.
The stop motion's pretty alright. It's pretty low.
On par with the stuff coming out at the time.
It's fairly low budget. There's a few other stop motion films we've seen at this point. I wouldn't say this is super better or super worse than any of them.
It's, by today's standards, it's obviously not very polished. I think it would be unfair to compare stop motion from 1947 to what stop motion can do today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That'd be dumb.
Those are very, very different ballparks. But I will say the stop motion is actually a really nice fit for Tintin. Obviously, I think this idea could be better executed today. I think it'd be interesting to see what a Tintin adaptation would look like in stop motion now.
Yeah. I mean, there was a hyper-realistic CGI Tintin movies that we'll watch.
By Steven Spielberg. We'll watch that
eventually because that was all CGI, so it was all animated.
Yeah.
I heard that one was fine at best.
I mean,
even by people that like Tintin.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't need to go into that right now. Talking about this film, it is the story of The Crab with the Golden Claws, which I don't think we mentioned that yet.
I did say the name of the movie,
You did? Okay, good.
Which is apparently one of the most famous and popular stories that the Tintin franchise has to offer.
Right.
But
this
it's
is
also
the introduction.
The 10th story or something.
Yeah, this is the introduction of Captain Haddock, who is going to become a staple character for the series.
How about I do a plot synopsis?
Yeah, go ahead, do that.
Tintin and his dog are walking around and they find an empty crab can in the trash. Okay. And then Thompson and Thompson call him over and they tell him that they're investigating fake money. And so they take him to their place and show the fake money stuff. And then Tintin's like, oh, that note that was found on a drowned man that had fake money on him also leads to that crab can I saw. Then he goes to try to find the crab can and it's gone. Dun dun dun. So they go investigate the ship that this drowned guy worked on, and it's immediately sketchy. Tintin gets captured. Thompson and Thompson leave because they're idiots, which is their defining characteristic.
Right.
They're bumbling, silly folk.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tintin gets captured because it turns out these people are using crab cans to smuggle opium. Anyways, Tintin escapes and he meets Captain Haddock, who is the captain of the ship. He's just a drunken fool. He's an idiot.
They're taking advantage of him because they can just, like,
yeah,
give him
the smuggle,
booze.
like, he has no clue about the smuggling ring
Right.
that is using him and his ship to smuggle opium all over the place.
Right.
So Tintin and Haddock escape the ship on a rowboat. Haddock is an idiot and burns the oars. Then they're shot at by a plane. Tintin is a super shot and, like, shoots the plane down with one bullet.
Tintin is perfect, as always.
Then he swims over and steals the plane from the dudes.
Uh-huh.
And then they're flying the plane towards what they think is back to Europe. Haddock gets drunk again. He crashes the plane. They're in the middle of the Sahara Desert, I want to say.
Yeah, they're in the middle of a desert.
Desert in Africa somewhere.
Or the Middle East.
Or somewhere like that. I don't know the specifics of where they were. I kind of started to check out on the specifics of what was happening.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, they're out in the desert. Haddock continues to be kind of obnoxious to deal with, and he's just screaming about needing a drink. Eventually, they make it to town, which happens to be the port town where Haddock's ship is, which means the opium ring has run out of this town. They do more investigating. They eventually find the ring. Chaos ensues. There's fighting and running and screaming, but it's all very basic because it's stop motion. They also reveal that the Arabic gentleman that, I'm pretty sure he's Arabic, the guy that runs the ring is actually an upstanding citizen, supposedly. And they reveal that, no, he's the leader of this whole crew.
Opium ring.
And Tintin and Haddock save the day. The end. Stopping the opium ring.
I get why this one was popular, because this is like a beat for beat playbook on how a lot of action mystery movies work.
Especially for the day. It's like, oh, you find one clue that leads to another clue that leads to even bigger things.
This
and you're just
big
like,
conspiracy.
you're not really sure what's going on. And
Yeah.
eventually, there's ups and downs. And eventually, they figure it all out. And, like, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing super special about this story, but it was fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really care for Tintin all that much. And then looking into the original comic itself, the original comic was made in the 40s and had a whole bunch of racist imagery and words, and that sucks. And then when it was like
Colorized and re-released, they removed all of the elements by making everyone white.
yeah, it's
And
just
that's
like,
not necessarily better.
well, yeah, there's two sides of that story where it's like, well, they either removed them all because they were racist caricatures and they're like, that's not cool, let's not do that. But then there's also the other side I hear about it where it's like, well, they removed them and made them all white people because they're like, we don't like it that white people are interacting with other people. And it's like, oh my god, Tintin, can you just...
You can't win either way.
This sucks.
It's like either you have the racist caricatures or you remove them for what seems to be racist reasons. Or what could be construed as racist reasons.
Right.
It's just real sucky all around.
Yeah.
I will say there are a few darker skinned characters in this movie. They're not around for very long, and I don't. Michael Ray even notes that they're not even sure if there's like bad racist terminology being used here because the translation did not use it, and they definitely made sure not to put anything like that in the translation either.
Right.
So it's difficult to say whether the original French audio is being racist.
Yeah. Well, and when the, like, Arabic characters show up, they're just speaking gibberish.
Oh, yeah. There's literally a scene where they're speaking actual gibberish.
It's just Arabic sounding gibberish.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
That's okay. That one part, that's really bad.
It's like, alright, guys. Anyway, to talk more about the history of this movie, it only had 2 theatrical viewings. One on January 11th, 1947, which was a private, invite-only viewing. And then the second theatrical viewing was on December 21st, 1947. So, like, almost like a whole year had gone by before this movie was actually shown to the public.
Oh, wow.
And then the company, like, went bankrupt right after, and this was never really shown again. I think this was like a prize thing to give to, like, Tintin fans. And then, like, in 2008, it got a French PAL DVD release. But other than that, like, that's why this movie was so difficult to get our hands on.
Yeah, that definitely... Not a lot of people have probably seen this. But hey, you know what? It's out there now. And I don't know, I'd say I'd recommend it just for like another example of early stop motion. It's also the first Belgian film out there. So like, I definitely think there's merits for historical reasons to watch this movie. For the context of the film itself, it was fine.
It's just another Tintin movie. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. What's the next film we have to catch up on?
Well, the next film that we're going to catch up on is also from 1947.
What?
And was also given to us by Michael Ray, and is also stop motion.
How is it how? In this time period, there is not a lot of animated films being made. How is there another stop motion film from this year?
Well, it's actually from one of our good companies that we do enjoy.
Oh?
We're going to be watching The Czech Year from, as you can assume, Czechoslovakia.
Oh!
This is like one of the super early Iji Trinka films.
Wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, so see you guys next time for that.
Sweet.
Dites-moi